Our next example shows how you can determine file size, creation and last modified timestamps, as well as other common file attributes from a basic attribute set available on many file systems with the help of basic file attributes object in Java library. I plan to continue my file.txt in the same location, which we have deleted in our previous video, so it currently doesn't exist. And I'll just copy and paste this next example and just run it very quickly. Right, so of course we get IO exception because the object doesn't exist, so you realize how much power the exception mechanism has in controlling all sorts of errors that may be caused by the state of the file system. So let's create this file again. Right click, new text document, and name it myfile.txt. Okay, try it again. So you can see currently it's 10:12 p.m. on my system, my local time, but the time shown by this output is 3:10:12 with hours, minutes, seconds, and even millisecond component here. So that's an example of the default conversion of the timestamp, date and time value that's stored on the file system. So obviously this is a large 64-bit, very likely a 64-bit size data structure that stores the date and time. And this is the default format when converting it to a string. The default conversion of these timestamps is also showing the time as a generic UTC time, which is a universal coordinated time. So since I'm in Eastern time zone, my difference with UTC is -5 hours. So my time is 22 hours in the evening, while the UTC time is already 3 o'clock in the morning, showing already the next day, March 2nd, while my local calendar is still March 1st. Okay, so the attribute creation, modified, and other methods return the file time class, which stores the time that is likely to include the fractions of a second, like milliseconds or even microseconds. But my biggest concern is switching to my local time zone, where my timestamp was created and saved on the file system. So I would like to switch to the local time zone, and this is my next example. So here I added a static method to converting to the local date time using the local date time object, which allows me to choose my desired format of output, and it also is using my default time zone. If you recall, we talked about local date time class when we covered the date and Gregorian calendar functionality. So this is the same example. I actually added display of the creation time and last modified for this file, myfile.txt. So let's try this change and see what it displays. Okay, you see how it switched from displaying March 2nd to March 1st, which is the accurate day in my local time zone.